Every day we hear the US is concerned on Gaza and cautions Israel. Yet all this while the US is funding and beefing up Israel with arms. It's apparent that the US has no intention of intervening in the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, for if the US had wanted, Israel would have stopped taking innocent lives long ago. Welcome to the latest edition of WiseHeads. I am your host Ashish Shukla. We know that the Middle East is on boil. Lebanon has erupted because Hezbollah and Israel are taking each other on. There are Houthis of Yemen who are presently under attack by the US and UK forces. Then you have Iraq and Syria, which is taking some heavy pounding from the United States. But above all, it is Iran which is blamed for everything by the United States and Israel. Israel never gets tired of terming Iran as a terrorist state. It believes that Hamas, Hezbollah and Houthis are acting on Iran's commands, that if Iran goes, all of this would end. Nobody denies that Iran supports the Shia militias in the region, which is called the Shiite Crescent, but to say that Iran controls them is far-fetched. If it was so, Houthis would have listened to Iran, who didn't want them to take the Yemen's capital Sana'a in 2015. If Hamas was at the beck and call of Iran, they wouldn't have done what they did to Israel on October 7. The truth is, Iran has always avoided multiple provocations which the United States keeps directing at them. When Iran's main military commander, Qasem Soleimani, was killed by a US drone in 2020, Iran didn't do much in retaliation. Only recently, when a bomb attack in a crowd took over 100 Iranian lives, there was no retaliation. All this is because Iran is aware if they go on the offensive, the US and Israel would have an excuse to attack it. Iran doesn't want to give US and Israel that excuse, because it knows that for decades it has been the deepest wish of the United States to take out Islamic Republic of Iran. Why taking out Iran is the deepest wish of the United States? It is because if the United States could control the Middle East, it could control the world, for Middle East has oil which makes the world run. Without oil, no country could function. Despite all this green energy noise, the truth is it would be decades before oil could become dispensable. In theory, if the United States controls the oil, it could punish any country it doesn't like. It could whip up some excuse to slap oil sanctions on that country. It already controls the sea lanes around the Mediterranean Sea, and if it is good with Saudi Arabia, all it needs is to control Iran and thus the Persian Gulf. By the same logic, if US can't control Middle East, it can't control OPEC Plus, the supply of oil and its prices. There was a time when this power lust of the United States was fulfilled by Saudi Arabia and Iran itself. But in 1979, Iran became an Islamic republic, overthrowing the rule of King Shah Reza Pahlavi. Having lost this leverage, the United States went out of its way to strengthen Israel. It wanted Israel as a puppet to sow troubles in the region in the same way it does with Taiwan, Ukraine and multiple other nations in global south. Thus, Israel is nothing but a forward agent of the United States. Its Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is much like Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine. They both do the bidding of the United States. This reasoning explains why Israel is pounding Gaza with such impunity. It cares two hoots if the rest of the world is appalled by their massacre of Palestinians, as long as the US is looking after its back. Worse, Israel inflicted a drone attack in the heart of Lebanon to take out a key Hamas leader, Saleh al-Aruri. It's a massive provocation to an independent nation. All this while, the US and Israel leaders are terming Iran as the main culprit for causing unrest in Middle East. If anything remotely was to happen like October 7 again, the US and Israel would go hard at Hezbollah or Houthis. If Iran ignores this provocation, it would stand discredited in the eyes of the groups it supports. And if Iran takes up their cause, the US and Israel would lose little time in declaring a war. The truth is, Iran is pivotal to the multipolar world shaping up. Iran is the heart of Eurasia and is pivotal to road and rail linkages which China and Russia are building up to connect the big landmass. In one stroke, not only Iran would cease being an issue, but also China and Russia would be crippled at the loss of this ally of theirs. The US would also be able to control Europe completely since it would have oil under its control. Since the US and Israel are already not making many friends in the world, they want to go full hog and settle the Iran question once for all. Yet, ambition is one thing and to make it happen is quite another. Iran is no Iraq or Yemen or Libya or Afghanistan to fade away under the US attack. Iran's arms stockpiles is impressive. It has arguably world's best drones, but more than anything else, it has the numbers in conventional army. The Ukraine war has shown that you could have the fanciest of weapons, yet you need boots on the ground in a war. The strength of conventional army is important. Here, Iran not just have its own numbers, it also has support of forces around Israel. Israel can't match Iran's conventional army. US, despite its armada and deadly weapons, do not have much of an army in the region. The US and Israel could take out the enemy or maybe two, but to deal with multiple enemies in one go, more so when Israel is so vulnerable around its border, would be impossible. The US aggression could terribly hurt Iran, but it's also true that Israel could be wiped out completely. Yet Israel and US are forcing the issue this important it is for them to deliver a gut blow to Iran. This is all in today's edition of WiseHeads. I'm sorry I'm not able to bring any good news on geopolitical front lately. The divisions around the world are becoming sharper, the conflicts are expanding. Let's hope some miracle happens and life would be normal again. With this prayer on lips, this is your host Ashish Shukla, who now takes your leave. Goodbye and good luck.